Ever laid on one of nature's beauties, something so rare and unique that you really have to see for yourself to really believe? Most of us here are college students, and we like to see new and interesting things. The yellow...
Try clicking on the screen.
It works there well.
Yeah, I'll try it again. It just wasn't that
Now it went back. Might
bad.
use
The
it.
other way.
Okay, my bad. Just continue where I was. Okay. The Yellowstone National Park is one of the nation's rare beauties that it has to offer us. So please take a trip with me and we'll travel back in time and to see how the park was established. Then we'll dive right into the geology factors of the park and finally investigate the wildlife. So let's rewind time and see how this park was established. From www.yellowstonenationalpark.com/history.htm said that only fur traders came this far, and when they went back home to tell people about the Yellowstone region, everybody just thought they were tall tales because they had nothing to prove themselves. Now let's jump forward a few years to where mining came into play, and Walter Delacy came right into the Yellowstone region with his crew to see what the land had to offer them. They themselves found Lewis Lake. Now with so much interest around this one region, Hayden asked the Congress for money so that way they could go on an expedition to find out what this region had really to offer. On March 1st, 1872, President Grant signed into law establishing the Yellowstone region as the first national park. We have now found out the history, so let's dive right into that geology, shall we? From www.nps.gov/geology.htm, there are 4 different types of thermal features that the Yellowstone region has. The first and the simplest is a hot spring, which is basically a superheated pool that circulates itself. The second is a geyser, and from Discover magazine, says that it's just like a hot spring but has constricted pipes. So as it gets towards the top, it becomes more pressurized and shoots out the top until the bottom becomes cool again. The third is a mud pot, and just like its name, it looks like mud and clay, but really it's an acidic feature that lets various gases escape from Earth. The last, but yet the smallest and the hottest, is a fumarole. Now, they only let steam escape because it's so hot that water turns into steam before it can escape Earth. We are now on to investigating the wildlife. I could go on and talk about all the wildlife that Yellowstone has to offer, but I only picked out 3 that the park is very proud of conserving. The first is the wolf. From the Restoration of Nature in America's National Parks by William Lowry, says that they weren't reintroduced until 20 years after they were put on the endangered species list. That was in 1995 when the first wolf was reintroduced into the park. At the end of 2011, there were 98 wolves in 10 wolf packs in Yellowstone. The second is the bison. From www.nps.gov/wildlife.htm, says that they have to be closely monitored because they carry tuberculosis, which is a disease that also infects cattle. So Yellowstone has to work with Montana and other federal agencies to maintain the health of the cattle, but also the aspect of the free roaming bison. The third and the last is a grizzly bear. Yellowstone is one of the only areas south of Canada that even has populations of grizzly bears anymore today. Today, there are 300 that live in and around the Yellowstone region. I have now talked to you about all the wildlife, so let's wrap up and conclude. We have been on a journey that we went back in time and discovered the history. Then we dove right into the geology and finished up with investigating the wildlife. So the next time you guys can't think of something to do for spring break, why not take a trip with all the facts I've presented to you? Because even Theodore Roosevelt said himself, "I grow very fond of this place. and it certainly has a desolate, grim beauty of its own that has a curious fascination for me.